So I'm hearing that some of you looking into hearing aids are confused. You don't know what to do or where to spend your money. So that's why I'm here to help. The Oticon Intent is the newest release from Oticon, and there are some solid reasons as to why you should buy it, but there are also an equal number of reasons why you shouldn't. It's been 3 months since the release of the Oticon Intent, so not only do I have plenty of feedback from the patients that I've fitted with these hearing aids, but I've also been tirelessly scrolling through online forums such as Reddit, Hearing Tracker, and Facebook to bring together all of your experiences in one place. So stay tuned for the pros, the cons, and the unanswered questions, plus if I feel they're actually an improvement over and above the Oticon Real, Oticon's previous hearing aid. So firstly, I want to talk to you today about sound quality, and overall there is no question that what Oticon have achieved with this hearing aid is excellent. The clarity is the best that we've seen from Oticon to date, with up to 24 fitting bands to ensure flexibility for your audiologist when programming your hearing aids during real ear measurements. Oticon have also introduced an entirely new chip in this line of hearing aids called Sirius, with Oticon claiming that this means a 12 decibel noise suppression, resulting in 35% more access to speech cues compared to their Oticon Real, up to 10% better sound quality, 13% more nuance, and 10% higher listening comfort. Now, these percentages can seem pretty small, yet when we're talking about marginal gains in multiple areas, they all add up. One thing that I'm also pleased that Oticon have done here, which manufacturers don't tend to do too often, to be honest, is they've compared this technology to their own previous technology, the Oticon Reals, rather than the other leading brands that we tend to see from other manufacturers, which is always pretty ominous in my opinion. Now, I think we can put these improvements down to their introduction of their More Sound Intelligence 3.0, which is a cluster of features aimed at sound quality. For example, their DNN 2.0, which is how Oticon have used an offline artificial intelligence to train their hearing aids to adjust themselves to your specific environment. The Oticon Reals had DNN version 1, which was trained using 12 million different sound scenes, and the Intents use version 2, which has had an uplift in the number of sound scenes that they've used to train this system, although the number hasn't been specified. Working with the DNN 2.0 is Oticon's brand new 4D sensor technology. Now, I don't quite know how these guys get away with this, but whilst Oticon are claiming that the Intents are the world's first hearing aids with this feature, in reality, the likes of Phonak, Signia, Starkey, and now ReSound have all had motion sensors in their hearings now, with some of them being in there for a couple of generations. Now, the purpose of motion sensors in hearing aids is to measure your body and your head movement and direct the microphones accordingly. And you know what? Patients are reporting that it works, and it works well. On the other hand, there are some of you out there saying that to feel the benefit, it really does take a little bit of exaggeration of head movements for those microphones to shift in the right direction. But nonetheless, it does actually work. As far as adaptability goes, Oticon are known for their seamless transition between quiet and noise settings underneath their general setting, which is Oticon's automatic program. Now, granted, this does require you to sit with your audiologist and have them tailored to you based on your specific needs. They don't just work like this out of the box. And a good audiologist will ask you the right questions to be able to program them to you the most effectively. What I will add to this, though, is that some would argue that the Phonak L90, the Phonak Lumity 90, allows for a greater degree of fine-tuning and they're in a similar price bracket. But I don't personally think that this should be a deal breaker if you're looking into the Oticon Intents. As far as clarity goes, in most cases, the feedback that I'm receiving from you guys is an improvement in clarity. That's both in quiet and noisy environments. But I will say that this isn't with everybody, and there are some folks reporting that there isn't a significant enough of a change to warrant the extra expenditure. Oh man, this is a touchy subject now. For those of you that have had Oticon hearing aids in the past, you'll know that their Bluetooth connectivity hasn't been a strength of theirs. In fact, it's safe to say that it's been one of their biggest weaknesses, and so much so that, honestly, I've been recommending Oticons less and less as a result as the years have gone on. I genuinely cannot tell you the amount of time that I've spent with patients over email, on the phone, or in clinic attempting to fix streaming or connectivity issues. So, the big question with regards to their intents is, what have they done to fix this? I've got 3 words for you. Low energy audio, i.e. or aka LE audio. LE audio is a low energy form of Bluetooth designed specifically for streaming sound, and in summary should technically result in less battery consumption and a higher quality of streaming from your phone. It isn't just limited to phone streaming though, and when this tech is finally rolled out, transmitters will be installed in concert halls, at conferences, train stations, and lecture theatres, and the sound of the speaker will be sent directly to both of your hearing aids. Now, Oticon aren't alone with this development, and currently Resound, Signia, and Jabra are all LE ready, and over the next few years, we should see Auracast broadcasted audio replace the century-old loop systems built into public venues, which will allow for multiple streaming to hearing aid users who can simultaneously connect to audio in these public spaces. So what's the user feedback on Oticon's new connectivity setup? Well, it's mixed, so I'll cover connectivity under both the pros and cons today. As far as the pros goes, there is no question that there are less people having issues with their connectivity. Yes, less people, but not all. Patients are reporting that the Bluetooth range is greater than with their previous tech, but bear this in mind, you won't all benefit from LE audio just yet, as unless your phone is either the Google Pixel 7 or 8, the Samsung Galaxy S23, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4, or Galaxy Z Flip 4, you'll not get the full audio benefit. As far as the cons associated with connectivity, you'll find them in the second part of today's video. Third up, Oticon have developed their controls, which is another first for Oticon. So one of the positive byproducts of having motion sensors built into hearing aids is that they can also be used to control your hearing aids. So instead of having to fiddle around and press the button on the back of them, or to get your phone out, you can now utilize a tap control feature and pick up phone calls by simply double tapping your ear. And you can do the same to hang up too. In reality, it isn't a feature that everybody utilizes, but those of my patients that do absolutely love it. The only slightly disappointing thing about this new feature is that Oticon have dipped their toe in the water, and I would have loved to have seen them fully submerged. If I compare the tap control feature to the likes of the Phonak Lumity family of hearing aids, theirs allows you to do quite a lot more. So you can both start or stop phone calls, you can start or stop music too, you can activate Siri or Google Assist as well. So I do think that Oticon have missed a bit of an opportunity, as those of you out there that may be looking at upgrading wouldn't necessarily want to take a step backwards with this feature. Fourth up are Oticon's lithium-ion battery developments. Now, these new batteries require a 2-hour charge rather than the 3-hour charge from the Oticon Reals, and for that you'll get 20 hours of life from them, so ultimately they should last you for a full waking day. If however, you need a boost for some reason, so say you fall asleep on the sofa overnight and forget to charge them, a 30-minute turbocharge will give you 8 hours of life. Now, if you're thinking, well, Matthew, 20 hours is great, but can't I get more from different manufacturers? You've done your research, you're 100% correct, as the likes of Signia and Starkey will now run for 30 plus hours per charge. And this is mainly because, just like with all lithium-ion batteries, such as the ones inside your phone that you're probably watching me on now, or your laptop or Tesla, over a period of time, the health of these batteries begins to decline. So to combat this, some hearing aid manufacturers are building in this extra capacity as a buffer so that in a year's time, when this battery life starts to deplete, they should still last you for a full waking day. Now, Oticon have thought about this in a slightly different way though, and they're hoping or claiming that with their improvement in battery technology, it should last for 20 hours now and continue to do so for more than 4 to 5 years. Of course, this isn't something that I've been able to test. However, I can say that I've had no reports of any battery-related issues for those that I've fitted with the Oticon Intent so far. The final positive before we come on to the negatives is how versatile the Oticon Intents are when it comes to their suitability. They can be adapted to fit a mild, moderate, severe or profound hearing loss, and this can be done in 3 different ways. Firstly, by changing the power of the receiver. And here on screen now, you can see the fitting ranges for each receiver, which includes both a 60, 85, 100 or 105 decibel power level. So if your hearing loss falls within the shaded area, then the speaker is technically the most appropriate for your degree of hearing loss. The second physical adjustment comes down to the tip on the end of your receiver. Now, believe it or not, the way that a hearing aid is coupled to your ear can completely transform the way that that hearing aid will sound. And it can change that in a few different ways. So from how much clarity it can provide, how well you cope in background noise, and even how decent the streaming of music or phone call sounds when they're coming from your phone. Now, Oticon, similarly to other hearing aid manufacturers, give you the choice between open domes, closed vented domes, power domes, and custom molds. So you have to make sure that you ask your audiologist which is the most appropriate for you. Another development relates to the receivers themselves, which are a new self-calibrating design, which Oticon are boasting have an accuracy of +1 or -1 decibel. And apparently this should result in 57% more accurate gain. Now, to be honest, it doesn't really mean anything in my opinion. Oticon, are you telling us that your previous receivers weren't very accurate? Because 1 decibel is not huge. Do you have any comparative figures versus other manufacturers? I would absolutely love to hear more in this space. So, let me know and I'll share it with the world. One thing that I can comment on though is that the new design of these wires is a lot better than their previous design. You can see here that they have a different kink to those from the Oticon Reals, which means that they sit better in the valley over the tragus for some hearing aid users. And I've seen over the last few months that this can result in a far neater fit. The same goes for their 105 dB flex mold update, which used to sit quite proudly from the ear canal, and now they're far neater and on par with the cosmetics that we see from other hearing aid manufacturers. Well done, Oticon. So those of you that have seen my videos before will know me well, and it wouldn't be fair of me to share all of these great features without giving you a balanced view of the technology. And there are 5 things that I've either come across in clinic, that I've noticed myself, or even I've seen reported online, which means that the Oticon Intents aren't perfect for everyone. Now, I have a ton of videos covering the latest news in the hearing technology world, so make sure you go ahead and press subscribe to make sure that you stay up to date with my new videos when they're coming out. I wish I wasn't talking about Bluetooth again, but yes, Bluetooth is still on my list of faults with these hearing aids. Yes, Oticon have introduced LE audio, and yes, it all sounds fantastic, but do you know what I really want? An empty inbox without people complaining about connectivity issues. Or call streaming to one ear but not the other, or the app not connecting, or the signal not going in and out. Do you catch my drift here? I can't really say any more on the matter, as I've voiced my concerns with Oticon in the past and online, as we all have as audiologists. And the crazy thing is that Oticon's response is, oh, we've not really had many people talking about that. In reality, the Bluetooth connection on the Intents still isn't as stable as it should be. And my big question to Oticon is, if other hearing aid manufacturers can get it, why can't you? Building on that, it's pretty standard for us to all have multiple tech devices in our lives nowadays, such as using a laptop, an iPad, or a smartphone. And something else that Oticon still haven't quite got right is a seamless connection between different devices. At the moment, it's all too clunky and it doesn't work well, and the only way that I've found to make it work seamlessly between devices is to turn the Bluetooth off on one and then turn it on the other, and vice versa when you want to switch over. Now, of course, this isn't particularly convenient if you're browsing the web on your MacBook and then you have an incoming phone call and you need to disconnect your Bluetooth to connect from one to the next. In my opinion, there are 2 weaknesses around batteries that patients have been complaining about, and the same kind of complaints seem to have come up online as well. Now, it's worth mentioning at this point that in a recent survey that I performed here on the Hearing Tracker YouTube channel, I found that around 1/3 of you still use disposable batteries. And whilst I absolutely love rechargeable batteries and their convenience, some of you out there find them a little bit more inconvenient than convenient. Namely, people that travel a lot and they don't want to carry a charger around, and others that just want the peace of mind that they can always carry a spare disposable battery in their pocket. Now, Oticon have made the same mistake that Phonak did with their Lumity family of hearing aids a couple of years back, and solely released it as a rechargeable hearing aid. which, by the way, Phonak realized the error of their ways and followed up with a disposable battery version. And I'm sure that Oticon will do the same at some point in the near future, but for now, if you want an Oticon Intent, you don't have the option of a disposable battery. Now, call me a skeptic, but I'm pretty sure I know why they've done this due to the limitations of their technology that they're using, which I've outlined in my Oticon Intent launch video, which I'll link in the description to today's video. The other backward step in these hearing aids is that with the Oticon Reals, it was possible to open up the battery door and switch out those lithium-ion batteries if there was an issue, rather than having to send the whole hearing aid back to Oticon. Now, with a turnaround time of up to 2 weeks for a repair, that's a long time to be without your hearing aids. And previously, Oticon were the only manufacturer that gave us this ability to be able to change those batteries on site. And sadly, they've now taken it away. This is, in my opinion, a big shame and could massively impact inconvenience, so I hope the new claims with their battery life are true so that you don't need to worry about changing batteries going forwards. Yes, I get it. I know it sounds like I'm conflicting myself with my feedback today, but I do feel that a few of these features that Oticon have given us, they've given with one hand and then they've taken with another. Now, this new tap control feature is a great addition, and although it isn't as versatile as other hearing aid manufacturers, I'm delighted that Oticon have caught up with the competition. Now, the downside is that this has come at a cost, and the Oticon Reals had a rocker switch in the past, which were essentially 2 buttons on the back of each of your hearing aids, which were super easy to find and could be programmed with multiple different functions, such as a volume control, a program button, or a mute function, etc., etc. Now, Oticon seem to have gone back to their old design from a few generations ago with the Open family of hearing aids that had a single push button on each of their hearing aids. Now, in my opinion, there are far more hearing aid users using program buttons than tap control features, and I think it's a bit of an error to have dropped that rocker switch. As I've previously mentioned with LE Audio, we're supposed to see a significant improvement in the sound quality of streaming, if you've got one of those phones that I listed earlier. The thing is, I haven't had anybody report an improvement that's with or without any of those new phones. And if you're watching and you have experienced better streaming quality, can you please share your comments and experiences beneath this video? That would be really helpful for anybody else watching to see if this is true or not. Another thing to note is that the sound quality of streaming has been addressed with other hearing aid manufacturers, with the hearing aid fitting software allowing audiologists to go in and fine-tune the equalizer based on your individual feedback. Annoyingly, Oticon don't have this option, and I would have thought that an update in terms of their technology from a Bluetooth point of view would have been the perfect opportunity to do so. Instead, it's possible to make the sound louder or softer and fuller or brighter. Going forward, Oticon, I would love to see the same level of flexibility from you guys that we have from other hearing aid manufacturers. Because if I have someone who is an audiophile or particularly interested in music in front of me, then I feel that this holds me back from recommending Oticon hearing aids. It took about 3 years from when Oticon released their rechargeable hearing aids to when they brought out their original smart charger, which is a hearing aid charger that stores 3 days worth of battery life so that you can go away for a long weekend and not have to worry about having access to a power. Let's say you want to go camping, for example. Now, it seems logical to me that because Oticon don't have a disposable battery version, they would have ensured that this new release would cater to as many people as possible, especially those that travel a lot and may not want rechargeable hearing aids anyway. So if you're someone that's keen on charging on the go, for now you're better to stick with older versions of Oticon technology or look to one of the other hearing aid manufacturers that have all the tech to fulfill your needs. Now, it's unclear as to whether Oticon intend to release a smart charger or a battery version of the Oticon Intent anytime soon. But I'm sure with your feedback and that of any audiologists out there, they'll look at doing so, and I hope it's in the near future. So if there's anything else that you think needs their attention, let me know in the comments beneath this video and I will filter it through to them. Now, before you consider buying these hearing aids, you have to check out this video covering the best hearing aids of 2024.